Hi, Eric Lanask here at WebRTC Expo 5. We're here in San Jose, California. Talking with me now is Andy Abramson from Comunicano. Andy, good to see you.
Always great to see you, Eric.
So, like I said, this is the fifth WebRTC conference and expo that we've got. Lot of commentary today already on whether we've met expectations, exceeded expectations, or are falling behind as far as where we've come with WebRTC so far. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as an event, it's certainly become the standard event where everybody wants to go to get together so they can conduct business between one another. So from that standpoint, you guys have done your job. WebRTC as a standard, still not yet ratified by IETF or 3WC, W3C. That doesn't mean anything because WebRTC is moving along, full bore. You've got companies deploying it. You've got it buried inside apps that are inside the iOS or Android platform. You've got plugins that now exist from companies like Temesis that can make Internet Explorer work or Safari work with a WebRTC-based service, say Uber Conference or IOTM's Cauliflower. They're already using those type of technologies, so why not have everybody just say, until there's a standard, let's work with best tools that are out there and go for it. It's happening. It's not a maybe. It's not a will it happen. It's there today.
So you mentioned a number of them, and there are others as well. There are so many apps with WebRTC embedded in them that you can run on your iOS device or your Android or your Microsoft products in Internet Explorer. What do you think, do we need Apple? Do we need Microsoft on board?
They're going to come on board because simply inertia. They can't stay out of it. But they'll do it on their own terms, on their own time, when there's an opportunity for them to make some money. In the case of Apple, it's Safari. So if you've got Chrome and Firefox, you're pretty much covered. Apple doesn't really have that level of control over the desktop the way Microsoft does because the enterprise loves Internet Explorer. And because they love Internet Explorer, there's this degree of dominance that keeps Chrome or Firefox away from many people, but yet a lot of people are running older versions still of IE because the IT department hasn't caught up. They're not the audience for WebRTC today. WebRTC is for the nimble, the fast, the quick, the companies that want to change the way they're doing business. So when you look at things like a session border controller that Sansei came out with over a year ago, where they have a WebRTC session border controller, that's important because if you're an enterprise who needs the protection of a protocol of a gateway, or if you're a service provider who needs it, or a telecom operator, you have to say, I need the tools that are coming out. And the tools are there. And most importantly is those tools exist in the cloud. You don't have to put them inside your own data center.
Is it safe to say that WebRTC is reflective really of the younger generation that's heading into the workforce or even still in the education system today?
So you had the telco model and you have the web model. WebRTC is all about the web model, and guys who can write code, who are very comfortable with HTML5, understand responsive design, need to build in functionality for voice, video, or collaboration. Or other things, data sharing, a data channel, that's important. There's a lot that WebRTC brings, peer-to-peer transfer of information. A lot of smarts goes behind it, and it's built into the browser. Well, if you can write code, you can start to use the different libraries that exist that make WebRTC enabling your web page or your website or your app, web app or mobile app.
You've clearly done a lot of thinking about this. There's a lot of maybe the most common use case that people talk about is on the CRM or the contact center, the customer experience or the customer service center side. But it seems to me those are all still very kind of traditional telecom use cases, and there may be others, whether that be in the gaming space or something in the mobile market that can supersede those in terms of popularity, growth, and economics.
I think you're going to see the Internet of Things and WebRTC as very important areas of overlap. You're also going to see the connected car with WebRTC, where things are very granular point-to-point, taking advantage of the peer-to-peer capabilities. Dime a dozen apps like voice calling, video conferencing, screen sharing, file sharing. All you're doing is you're transferring from one technology platform to something which is better and more efficient. And when things are more efficient, that means it costs less. And when it costs less, that means there's greater deployment. But as we move into new areas like IoT, or IoE, if you want to use the Cisco definition of Internet of Everything, you're going to begin to see WebRTC's protocols permeate into new services that we haven't dreamed of. So the developers are really the audience everybody has to focus on, because they're the ones who are going to come up with great ideas, whether it's in gaming or security or devices or something we haven't thought of yet.
Does WebRTC ultimately help kill off traditional telephony?
I think all things die and new things replace it, just like life. So when you think it's going to kill off, I don't think so. I think telephony is going to evolve. We went from the operator to the rotary dial, to the touch tone, to the screen interface on your handset or your computer, to where I don't remember phone numbers anymore because I just have to look up your name in my directory and tap it. I think that WebRTC is evolutionary to lead to some revolutions. But telephony as we know it has been long gone for years. Things like Skype and SIP calling, the foundations of so much that we all know, have really replaced it in many ways, and people don't even know it's there. WebRTC will be the same thing. You won't know that it's WebRTC. You just know that when I click on this icon and I need to talk to Eric Lanask to pitch a story idea, I'm going to click on your photo, and then you're going to put up the, sorry, I'm not around.
Well, that's kind of the brilliance of WebRTC, really, is it's not like going from a fixed landline to a mobile device where you know you're being called on a mobile device. It's just about making the communications easier, whether it's WebRTC or anything else. The user doesn't care. The user doesn't need to care.
That's correct. And it's invisible. The best technology is invisible to the user. And whether it's developed on WebRTC or whether it's developed on SIP platforms or whether it's developed using old H.323 technology, we don't really care as long as it works. But if you're the developer or the engineer or the product manager and someone says, use WebRTC because it'll cost you less to maintain, it'll provide you greater flexibility, and you'll be able to hook into more new services than the old technology did, you're going to do that because you want to grow, and WebRTC powers growth.
Excellent. Andy, good to see you as always. Thanks for being here at the show again.
Thanks, Eric. Have a great show.